After getting drunk, I pull my archenemy tightly into my arms. She takes out a family heirloom ring and slides it onto my index finger. Now you're mine. The whole room freezes. Miss Qi grabs my restless hand. Wrong finger, husband. The guests erupt because Celine and I are known as sworn enemies. I hate Celine, hate her to the bone. But no one knows I've been reborn. In my past life, a fire destroyed my face and my voice. Everyone abandoned me, disgusted by me. But she held me close and kept saying, Lucian, don't be afraid, I'm here. Only then did I realize the person I hated most was the one who loved me most in this world. In my final moment, she held me tight, her cold lips pressed against my ear, softly begging, Lucian, love me, won't you? I cried out in agony, saying I loved her, but she could no longer hear me. The day I was reborn, it happened to be on the red carpet of an award ceremony. A woman of breathtaking beauty leaned elegantly against a car. At first glance, the entire world seemed to hold only her. I threw caution aside, crossed the carpet, and ran to her, saying again the words she never heard, I love you. I love you. The crowd gasped in shock, including viewers watching the livestream, because everyone recognized the woman in my arms, Celine Qi, the heiress of the Qi family in the capital. A woman so noble and untouchable that everyone knew getting close to her was dangerous, yet they fell for her anyway. In that instant, the noisy scene fell dead silent. Only the camera flashes kept firing. Compared to the silence in the room, the live chat exploded with noise. What is this guy doing? How dare he kiss my Miss Qi? Is he that desperate to go viral? First he hits Ethan before the livestream, now he forces a kiss on Miss Qi. Has he been reading too many trashy novels? Does he think this will make him famous? The Qi heiress is famously cold to men. She doesn't even look twice at Ethan. Who does he think he is? He's asking to get killed. I heard they've hated each other since childhood. This is gonna be good. I don't care, damn it, kissing my wife. Why doesn't he just die? Relax, she'll deal with him. Forget the audience. My best friend and manager Owen nearly dropped his jaw. He knows my relationship with Celine better than most. People say we're childhood friends, but not the kind that get along. Quite the opposite to our relationship was disastrous. The kind where if Celine showed up, I'd want to disinfect the air after she left. Because I had loved Mabel since childhood, and Mabel hated Celine, the girl everyone adored. So out of spite, I hated Celine too, since childhood. At that moment, Owen thought the same as the viewers. Lucian's lost his mind trying to go viral. Not far away, Ethan covered his face, pupils shrinking, a mocking smile rising in his eyes. Lucian's even daring to mess with Celine now. Isn't he afraid that Madwoman will kill him? Celine's bodyguards exchanged glances. Actually, when I came charging in, they had wanted to stop me, but their Miss Qi stopped them with a look. Has the sterling heir changed tactics, switching to a new way to harm their Miss Qi? Or maybe he's hiding poison in his mouth trying to kiss her to death. Yet no one was more shocked than Celine herself. When Lucian came running toward me, I thought he meant to humiliate me. I was almost curious to see what this disowned heir would do next. Before Celine could speak with mockery, she saw me lower my gaze, my lips landing precisely on hers. In that instant, Celine's mind went blank. She thought stiffly, was Lucian trying to bite my neck and missed? Gasp. Should I tell him he bit the wrong spot? Celine, I love you. My voice sounded so faint it might scatter with the wind. Celine's heart clenched instantly. She pressed her fingers against my shoulder, trying to push me away. The live chat exploded with excitement. Look, she's about to slap him. Celine looked up at me, my face full of a complicated, bittersweet longing. Her heart clenched tighter. Just as everyone waited for her hand to strike, she gently cupped my cheek instead. What's wrong, Lucian? What happened? What's going on? Shouldn't the woman who hates men slap this guy who's taking advantage of her? The crowd exchanged baffled looks. Cameras kept flashing, comments scrolled by faster and faster, and the viewer count kept climbing until the stream crashed. We lost the feed, fix it now, we can't watch her slap him, I won't sleep tonight. In that moment, in my eyes, the whole world faded away. My world held only her. My voice was hoarse. I missed you. My arms tightened around her waist as if afraid she'd vanish. Celine, I missed you so much, really. Celine thought to herself, the name Lucian keeps calling, could it be a mistake? She paused, then suddenly glanced around. The onlookers spying on the scene quickly looked away, some stared at the sky, some studied the ground. Celine knew this wasn't the place to talk. She frowned and gripped my arm, trying to make me let go of her waist, but her movement panicked me, and I held her even tighter. Don't go, don't leave me, please. I'll behave from now on, I promise. Helplessness washed over Celine's delicate face. I'm not leaving you, come on, get in the car. I didn't believe her, stubbornly clinging to her. I'm afraid if I let go, you'll disappear. This all feels too much like a dream, a beautiful dream I dare not wake from. Then what would make you let go? Kiss me, Celine, kiss me so I know you're real, please. I had kissed her moments ago, but it hadn't felt real yet, before she pushed me away. I really wanted to kiss her again, wanting to feel the warmth of her lips, not the coldness from when she begged me to love her in my ear. Celine pressed her lips together. Lucian's mouth had always only known how to anger me, but today, for some reason, he suddenly knew how to coax me. Is he trying to seduce me, leave some moment on record in front of the entire internet? Something he can later use to mock me for falling for his charm. Celine's lips curved. Too bad, the one thing I've never feared since childhood is a honey trap. With that thought, Celine let out a soft laugh, her slender fingers pressing against my cheek. Then she lifted her chin and hugged me. The livestream came back online the moment she did. The camera, fixed on the end of the red carpet, showed a stunning woman and a handsome man, the scene as beautiful as a prince and princess embracing in a fairy tale. Eager viewers, before they could even register it clearly, started flooding the chat. They're kissing, oh my god, she hit him hard with her mouth. The story exploded across trending topics. Some assumed I had blackmail on the Qi heiress, threatening her. Others thought I had seduced her, and some believed I'd used some kind of black magic to control Celine. In any case, no one believed Celine genuinely wanted to kiss me. In the eyes of the public, Celine and I were parallel lines that should never cross. One belonged to the sky, the other to the ground. Someone left the threat. Just wait, once Miss Qi comes to her senses, Lucian's going to suffer badly. If he doesn't, I'll livestream myself eating a bug. While the internet exploded with chaos, in the spacious, noisy backseat, I sat beside Celine, watching her hopefully. Celine sat there lazily, her slender fingers gripping her phone, hanging up call after call from gossiping friends until she finally just turned it off. Then she turned to look at me, her tone light yet cold. So, did you lose your memory, or did you just mistake me for someone else? No, I didn't mistake you. I quickly shook my head, instinctively reaching to hug her again. Celine's lashes fluttered. Don't hug me, sit still. I had finally coaxed her into letting go before, and now I wanted to hug her again, with no audience watching this time. Celine's face showed a flash of annoyance. What kind of habit is this, wanting to hug me every time he opens his mouth? Did he do this with Mabel too? My hand froze mid-reach, my fingers, which had already touched her clothes, withdrew, and I looked at her pleadingly. Celine watched me, looking pitiful as if she'd just abandoned a puppy. Something's wrong, this archenemy of mine is acting wrong. Celine pressed her lips together, suppressing the suspicion in her eyes, and asked, So you didn't mistake me, then do you know who I am? I said firmly, You're Celine, then added softly, My Celine. Her heartbeat instantly stumbled. She suddenly pressed the back of her hand to my forehead, murmuring thoughtfully, Maybe a fever fried his brain. Her small hand felt slightly cold, which strangely reminded me of the coldness of her embrace in my final moment. I clenched my fists and said quietly, I don't have a fever. Celine withdrew her hand, crossing her arms and looking at me with feigned indifference. Spit it out, what scheme are you cooking up to torment me this time? Celine suddenly remembered something. If I'm not mistaken, there's a Sterling family banquet tomorrow. I heard that madwoman Mabel already bought a ring and is likely going to propose to Ethan herself. The Hart and Sterling families want to continue their alliance. I had been disowned by the Sterling family a month ago because Ethan had been kidnapped, nearly killed, and all the evidence pointed to me. My parents lost all faith in me and publicly cut ties with me. My engagement to Mabel was also voided as a result. Celine's smile faded, her gaze growing more distant. Lucian, you're not trying to use me to provoke Mabel, are you? Before getting out of the car, I had seen Lucian hit Ethan. In that moment, I had felt a flicker of concern. Lucian always had a bad temper, but he had never lost control like this in public before. At the time, I thought Lucian had done it because of Mabel, so I rushed out of the car to back him up, but instead, I'd given him the chance to make trouble for me. Thinking back to those two light kisses, Celine's eyes turned colder. Lucian, for Mabel's sake, you're really willing to go this far? She was furious, considering whether to just toss this idiot out of the car. I asked her, puzzled, Who's Mabel? I don't know her. Celine fell silent for 2 seconds, then reached out and tapped the shoulder of Jen, who was driving. Take us to 10th City Hospital, the psychiatric department. Jen paused for a moment. Understood, Miss Qi. Then, without hesitation, she turned the wheel and headed straight for 10th City Hospital. I frowned deeply. This is bad. Celine might really think I've gone insane. By now I had fully shaken off the days of my rebirth, certain and confident I had truly come back. Still, if pretending to have amnesia would make her trust me, that worked too. I no longer cared about any of those other people, I only cared about my Celine. In this world, I only needed to remember her, only needed to love her, and that would be enough. Celine spoke lightly into my ear. I'll give you one last chance, tell me honestly what you're really trying to do, or once we're at the hospital, you won't be coming out so easily. The light inside the car was dim. I turned to look at her cold, elegant features. Before the fire in my past life, I too had once believed her gaze was cold, like ancient, unmelting ice on a frozen lake. Later I learned that beneath that frozen surface was boiling. Lava or love burned so fiercely, it could nearly make ice itself boil. I spoke calmly, softly. I'm not trying to do anything. I just want to love you. Gasp. Celine's composed eyes shattered instantly. Want to love me? How do you plan to love me? Her red lips pressed together and she sneered. Lucian, do you think I'm a fool? Shall I remind you what you said this morning when we ran into each other in the club lobby? I was completely lost. Wait, there's a flashback now? That feels like ages ago, let me think. I tried hard to remember, and after a while it came back earlier that morning at the club we really had crossed paths. She stepped out of the elevator as I stepped in, and we brushed past each other. I had told Owen beside me that I needed to spray some air freshener after that. Recalling this, my eyes flickered with realization. Celine let out a soft laugh. Look at that guilty face, seems like it's coming back to you. The next second, my eyes turned innocent, as if I truly remembered nothing. No, I really don't remember. What did I say to you back then? Did I tell you that you looked beautiful, that I really liked you, that I really loved you? Celine suddenly felt the urge to teach me a lesson, reaching out and giving my ear a hard twist. Lucian, don't sit here playing dumb with me. That trick won't work on me. I rubbed my ear, asking playfully, Then what trick will work on you, Celine? Celine scoffed. None of them work on me. Before she even finished, I leaned in closer. Celine snapped back to attention, shoving me away, gritting her teeth. Lucian, if this doesn't work, then what do you want? Anything, all right? Jen, driving up front, perked her ears up. Mamma mia. Of course she's listening. Celine's gaze drifted helplessly to my face, the word fine already forming on her lips, but what finally came out through gritted teeth was, Dream on. The sparkle in my eyes vanished instantly, and I drooped my head to show my displeasure. I can't let Lucian play me like this. Does he think this will actually work? She calmly inched away, putting distance between us, her voice carrying a jealousy she didn't even notice herself. Who taught you all this, Mabel? Lucian. I pretended not to hear that. I already told you I don't know any Mabel. Why do you keep bringing her up? Who even is she? Besides, everything I know you taught me, and Mabel doesn't even like me. Celine's patience with me was running thin. She said, displeased, Lucian, how much longer are you planning to keep up this act? My spirits sank. I'm telling the truth. I only love you. I only want to love you. Why won't you believe me? Why was Celine being so hard to convince this time? I had thought if I just confessed to her, she'd accept me right away. Could it be that she hadn't fallen for me yet at this point in time? Celine's playful eyes studied me for a few seconds. You don't know Mabel? I nodded. Celine's lips curved, her tone resentful. Only love me, only want to love me? I nodded firmly again. Celine, thinking of something, smirked. Fine, I suppose I could believe you, but you'll have to prove it. Prove it how? I blinked, my flirtatious eyes batting once. I grinned. Does Celine think being close isn't enough? Want to spend some quality alone time with me? Up front, Jen tightened her grip on the wheel, not daring to swerve. This sterling air's quite something. Can my innocent young mistress even handle this? Sure enough, Celine's face turned redder than my own earlobes, but luckily she managed to keep her composure on the surface, gritting out my name. Lucian. I looked at her with innocent eyes, and Celine fought back the urge to toss me out of the car, instead jabbing a finger into my forehead. Put away every single inappropriate thought in that head of yours, right now. Only then did I reluctantly open my mouth. Celine took a deep breath to calm down, then instructed, Jen, back to the Worldview Hotel. Transition sound effect. The Worldview Hotel belonged to the Qi family, and it was also the venue hosting today's award ceremony. After the ceremony, the hotel would host an after-party. The reason Celine had agreed to attend the award ceremony tonight was because the Qi family was the host, but of course the real reason was that she knew I'd be there. I had only gone because I was worried Lucian might get bullied, and as expected, no good deed goes unpunished. That jerk doesn't deserve my kindness. Celine glared at me, grinding her teeth, while Jen respectfully turned the car around. I asked, confused, going back for what? Celine leaned back in her seat, returning to the lazy posture she'd had when she first got in, her tone laced with mockery. To give you a chance to prove just how sincere this so-called love of yours really is. I frowned slightly. I still remembered, in my past life also at an after-party at the Worldview Hotel, I had been drugged and woken up beside Celine amid a scene of utter chaos. I was completely devastated, and my first reaction was to drive Celine away. She had stayed remarkably calm at the time, saying she'd marry me regardless. I coldly told her to leave. If I remembered correctly, that drugged drink had been handed to me by Mabel herself. By the dim light, I glanced at Celine, her eyes closed, pretending to nap, her delicate face strikingly beautiful. I used to be so influenced by Mabel that I always thought Celine was pretentious, too hard to get close to. Only later did I understand it wasn't that I didn't want to get close to her, I was just afraid to. Going back to earlier that evening, the award ceremony was still underway. Those who didn't care to watch the ceremony had already gathered in the banquet hall for the after-party, many of them wealthy heirs and heiresses there just to enjoy the spectacle. But the mood was off, as everyone kept glancing, intentionally or not, toward Mabel. After all, the simp who'd chased after her since childhood had run off with her archenemy instead, and not just any rival, but Celine, who outshone Mabel in nearly every way. So the rich kids in the room weren't daring to act up, afraid of provoking Mabel's wrath. Mabel was indeed seething. She slouched in an armchair, irritably scrolling her phone. The video of me kissing Celine was trending. She'd replayed it again and again, the urge to kill growing stronger each time. She flung her phone aside and said coldly to the person beside her, "Get someone to take that off the trending page." Laughter. Sitting beside her was her best friend Sue, who was also watching the trending topic. Hearing this, Sue looked surprised. "Take it down? Why? Don't tell me you don't want people to drag Lucian's name through the mud anymore." Mabel shot her a glare. "What good does it do me, watching him get dragged through the mud?" Sue clicked her tongue. "Maybe no good for you, but plenty for Ethan. The worse Lucian's reputation gets, the better Ethan looks by comparison. Since you like Ethan, why do you even care about Lucian?" Mabel, hearing this, grew even more irritated. "Are you all right?" Sue blinked, taken aback. "When did I ever say I liked Ethan?" Sue was utterly confused. Wait, what do you mean, Mabel? Don't tell me you're saying you actually like Lucian? Mabel said nothing, but her silence was the biggest answer of all. Gasp. Sue quickly lowered her voice. Mabel, you've been so close to Ethan all these years, and you've never once been nice to Lucian. Ask any of our friends, everyone assumed you liked Ethan, we all treated him like your boyfriend basically. And now you're telling me you actually like Lucian? She couldn't help blurting out. Have you lost it? Mabel shot her a look. What do you understand? She frowned. It's all because Lucian's temper is too terrible. I did all of this just to make him understand. Don't think just because he's the sterling heir he can throw tantrums in front of me. Mabel took a small sip of red wine. He needs to know his place, learn to please me. Even more so now that the Sterling family has thrown him out, he'll have nowhere left to go but back to me. And when that happens, will he dare throw tantrums then? So really, I'm just teaching him a lesson. Sue's jaw dropped. So all those years you were warm to Ethan and cold to Lucian, it was all just to teach him a lesson, to make him more obedient. What kind of world-class manipulator is this? She was so stunned she nearly rolled her eyes. Then aren't you forcing Ethan into a proposal tomorrow? Mabel said unhurriedly. My husband will only ever be Lucian. Sue was speechless. After a long pause, she reminded Mabel. Well, the thing is, he doesn't seem to be coming back to you right now. He went after Celine instead. Mabel toyed with her glass. Let's hope this doesn't backfire and cost more than it gains, ending up training someone else's husband instead. Which just proves he's still not properly trained, he's still not obedient enough. He probably heard I'm proposing to Ethan tomorrow, that's why he hit Ethan and then went after Celine, thinking that would make me change my mind. She scoffed softly. Lucian should really think about this. Does he really think Celine, knowing he's been my simp this whole time, would take him seriously? Asking for embarrassment? Mabel took another sip of wine, saying casually, Don't worry, it won't be long before he's back, groveling and begging for my forgiveness. Barely a few seconds after she finished speaking, the heavy doors of the banquet hall slowly swung open, and the crowd inside turned to look, their expressions freezing for a moment as a woman with commanding presence strode in unhurried. Then everyone saw me walking in right behind her. Mabel suddenly sat bolt upright, staring fixedly at me. Celine smiled at Mabel, then turned her gaze to meet mine. The two of us sat down on an empty sofa. Whether by accident or design, it happened to land directly across from Mabel and her group, a dozen or so meters between them. The hall fell quiet for a moment. Mabel pouted and called out sweetly, Lucian, come here. Celine smiled gracefully, leaning lazily back against the sofa, her voice gentle. Want to go over there? As she spoke, she idly toyed with my hand. I shook my head confused. I don't know her, I'm not going. Everyone heard this, including Mabel. Mabel's cheeks puffed up. Lucian, I'll give you one more chance, get over here. Celine's eyes glinted with mischief, and she pouted, leaning in close to my ear. Lucian, weren't you trying to prove you love me? Her warm breath against my ear made my heart pound like thunder. She let out a soft hum. So dare you kiss me in front of Mabel? The moment she finished, she saw my eyes light up. Celine suddenly felt a sense of foreboding. Sure enough, the very next second, I didn't hesitate for a moment and kissed her. Gasps rippled through the room instantly, and the banquet hall fell even more silent. How dare she? How many times has this happened today? Even if she's really trying to provoke Mabel, isn't she worried about overdoing it and pushing Mabel completely over the edge? A woman's mocking laugh sounded near her ear, snapping Celine back to focus. Miss Hart, what exactly are you trying to do? Celine's eyes flicked sideways, and she saw Mabel had already risen from her seat, clearly intending to head toward us, but another woman had blocked her path. The one blocking Mabel was Celine's friend Wendy. When Celine had first walked in, Wendy and her friends had wanted to rush over and join her, but seeing me following close behind, they decided to hang back and watch instead. I saw the whole trending video. I just regret I wasn't there to witness it in person, and now I'm getting the live version right here. Wendy was equally surprised but kept a sharp eye on Mabel. Sure enough, Wendy didn't even think twice before stepping in front of Mabel. As if. There's no way I'm letting that mad woman Mabel wreck Celine's big moment, absolutely not. Mabel's lips curled into a mocking sneer. Move. Wendy scoffed coldly. You say move and I just move, do I have no pride? Mabel said fuming. I'll say it again, move. Wendy shrugged, flashing a wicked grin. Nope, not moving. What are you going to do about it? Mabel's brow furrowed deeply, and she raised her hand, pointing at Wendy's face. You! Wendy stepped back. Don't go pointing fingers at me. I hate it when people do that. The atmosphere instantly grew tense, and no one else dared even breathe too loudly. It was only then that I finally understood what Celine meant by prove it. She didn't believe I loved her, still thinking I was using her. She assumed I wouldn't dare kiss her in front of Mabel. Well, surprise, I was more than happy to prove her wrong. Celine watched the scene unfold, then said quietly, Enough. The hall fell instantly silent. A dozen or so people turned to look at Celine. She spoke softly, anger laced beneath her calm tone. I won't have my territory disrespected. Everyone else felt as if they'd been doused in cold water, because this was, after all, the Qi family's domain. Causing a scene here would bring no end of trouble. Someone glanced at Mabel, silently asking what to do next. Mabel's gaze stayed locked on me. Sue, suddenly inspired, called out to me, Lucian, can't you see someone's bullying Mabel? Get over here and help, now! Everyone turned to look at me again in unison, Celine included. Enough already. Does she really want to put on a show in front of this many people? I kept my head down, pretending not to hear Sue. Celine pressed her lips together. Did I speak too harshly just now? Mabel had reached the end of her patience. From the moment Lucian walked into the hall, he hadn't given me a single glance. He used to never be like this. Before, whenever I was around, his gaze had always followed me. She suddenly felt a flicker of panic, as if something were slipping out of her control. Mabel gritted her teeth and said, Lucian, when you're done playing around, come here. I'll let what happened today slide. Hearing her tone, as if she were granting some great favor, I finally lifted my head and looked over, the first time I'd looked at her all evening. After 2 seconds, I stood and walked toward Mabel. The displeasure in Mabel's eyes melted away, replaced by a flicker of triumph. I knew it. Lucian was just trying to provoke me, trying to get under my skin. The others exchanged glances, none of them daring to speak, instinctively clearing a path as I walked through. Wendy hesitated for a moment, but Mabel's people blocked her so she couldn't follow. Wait, Lucian, is there any reason for him to bother? He shot Mabel an eye roll, shook his head helplessly, and stepped aside to let me pass. This man's taste is honestly terrible. How does Celine compare unfavorably to that brat from the Hart family? Celine's cheeks puffed slightly, her lips pressed tight, her gaze turned away, refusing to look at anyone, her foot tapping lightly on the floor, restraining the urge to pull me back. I say one slightly harsh thing to him, and he sulks for ages, yet someone else snaps at him and he still eagerly trails after her. What an idiot. I should be used to this by now, after all these years. But somehow Lucian's performance today was so flawless that it left me dazed, foolishly letting a flicker of joy take root, thinking that maybe Lucian had finally chosen to truly see me. Forget it, I'll just consider this the last time I help him. Celine rose to her feet, dejected, no longer looking at me, and turned to walk away. She'd only taken 2 steps when she heard an uproar behind her. Oh my God, Lucian! Was still hoping Mabel would turn around in disbelief, when instead she saw Mabel pointing a finger at me, asking, stunned, say that again. I could say it 100 times. I don't like you, I'm not interested in you. I turned around, beaming brightly, looking towards Celine. Was that Mabel? I told her I'm not interested in her, told her to stop causing trouble for no reason. Celine, did I do well? Celine's heart skipped violently. Has Lucian really lost his memory? Seeing that she said nothing, my eyes darted with a sudden idea. I reached toward her, feigning discomfort. My leg seems to be cramping. Celine, please come help me. The hall went dead silent. Celine watched me quietly for a few seconds. Then under the gaze of everyone present, she walked toward me, stopping right in front of me. Without saying a word, she draped my arm over her shoulder and held me steady. I gazed at her with starry eyes, smiling brightly. Mabel gritted her teeth and looked up, glaring fiercely at the two of us. Celine, where do you think you're taking Lucian? He's mine. Groan. I had a bad feeling, thinking that if Celine led Lucian away now, I would really lose him. Celine merely tilted her head toward Mabel, the chill in her eyes melting away, her lips curving with pleasure. From now on, he's mine. Since Lucian himself chose to walk toward me, whether he's truly lost his memory or simply using me, he has no room left to take it back. Celine's smile bloomed like a flower as she supported me, the one who had walked toward her of his own will, and we left together. Celine still took me to the hospital, no hidden agenda, just genuinely curious whether Lucian's brain had truly gone wrong. Once we were in the car, I couldn't resist leaning toward her. Celine remained ice cold, simply saying, "Sit still." My mouth twitched. "Celine, you don't like me hugging you? You're being so cold right now, you wicked woman." Celine leaned back against her seat, asking airily, "Were you this clingy with Mabel back then too? Like you have no spine, always leaning into people." I frowned tightly, muttering under my breath, "Why do you keep bringing her up?" Celine simply turned to look out the window, unwilling to say more, as if I wanted to bring up Mabel. "You spent how many years in love with her? Did you really forget that quickly?" Once we arrived at the hospital, Celine arranged a full medical checkup for me, including a psychiatric evaluation. I stayed quietly silent. If the checkup would put Celine's mind at ease, then so be it. Let her check. The other tests were fine, but once it came to the psychiatric evaluation, I had to answer many questions, and no matter what the doctor asked, I just said I didn't know. Only when he asked about Celine did my eyes light up. After the full diagnosis, the doctor's expression was conflicted, and finally he wrote a few words on the report, handing it to Celine, who'd been waiting outside, with a strangely amused smile, placing the report in her hands. "Don't worry, his mental state is normal, nothing major to be concerned about. Just, well, this one little quirk." I trailed behind the doctor, surprised. "Oh, so the doctor knows Celine too." The doctor turned, smiled at me, then turned back to Celine. "I've got more patients waiting. Go ahead and take your time." I quickly said thank you. "Thanks." Watching him turn and head back to his office, I finally approached Celine, asking her with innocent eyes, "What did the doctor say?" Celine glanced at the report, her expression complicated, and handed it to me. "See for yourself." I took it, and at the very bottom the diagnosis read, "Physical and psychiatric examination shows no underlying disorder, emotional state affected by romantic issues, mental capacity normal." I was a bit confused. "What does this mean?" Celine sighed. "It means you're a lovesick fool." I nodded, looking unmistakably pleased with myself. That doctor really nailed it. Celine, conflicted, reread the report from top to bottom once more. There's truly nothing wrong with his body. If he's deliberately faking closeness with me, then what is Lucian's real goal? It's clearly not about Mabel, so what else could possibly drive Lucian to abandon all caution and pursue someone he supposedly despises like me? And if he's not faking it, can a person really change this drastically in just one day? Celine couldn't help reaching up to feel around the top of my head, finding no bumps or lumps, asking cautiously, "Did you bang your head when you stepped into the elevator this morning? Did the doors slam on it?" I stared at her, utterly speechless. "You could be more obvious about the sarcasm," I asked her, somewhat helpless. "Why can't you believe that I really do love you?" Celine withdrew her hand, locking eyes with me. "You tell me. If the roles were reversed, would you believe it?" Fair point. I too once didn't believe that Celine genuinely loved me, not until that fire. I spoke seriously. "Actually, I've always liked you. It's not something that just sprang up today." "Always?" Celine's lashes fluttered, a touch of confusion in her gaze. "What do you mean, always?" I spoke earnestly. "It's just that before, I didn't dare get close to you. You were always so wonderful, and you treated me with such indifference I always felt I wasn't worthy of you." A note of dejection crept into my voice. Celine's brow knit together, a mix of frustration and amusement crossing her face. "Lucian, don't you dare turn the tables on me. It was clearly you who was always cold to me." I started to make excuses. That was because I loved you and couldn't have you, so the love turned to resentment." Celine clenched her teeth even harder. "Sweet talk won't work on me. Don't try to change the subject." My mouth twitched. "Can't you just let me win this once? I'm being completely sincere about confessing my feelings here, hey." Celine fell silent for a moment, swallowing the frustration rising in her chest, then turned and walked away. I watched her back, standing still, and seeing she had no intention of stopping, I called out, "Celine." She stood there and turned to look back at me. I blinked, my tone softening. "Celine, my leg hurts." The moment she heard this, she knew I was up to my old tricks again, and she let out a soft scoff. "Then just stay put. I don't care if you follow or not." With that, she turned and walked off. I just stood there, not moving, not saying another word. Celine was nearly at the elevator doors when she closed her eyes for a moment, then without hesitation turned right back around, gritting her teeth and saying into my ear, "Lucian, I must have owed you a debt in a past life." I let out a goofy laugh, draping an arm over her shoulder, leaning close to her cheek, brushing it lightly, then whispered, "No, it's me who owes you, my Celine." The frustration in Celine's chest eased a little, and she let out a cool scoff. "If you owe me, shouldn't you be the one carrying me out of here? Have you ever seen someone who owes a debt strut around in front of their creditor like this?" I answered her quite earnestly. "Normally, collecting a debt is never easy, and the bigger the debt, the harder it is to collect. So the creditor has to take good care of the debtor. Treat them gently, that's the only way the debt might eventually be repaid." Celine let out a soft scoff. "You sure have a lot of crooked logic." I leaned close to her ear again, whispering, "The debt I owe you is enormous, so you'll have to stay by my side for the rest of my life." This way, I'll have a whole lifetime to slowly pay back my debt to my Celine, won't I? A whole lifetime. The two of us walked into the elevator, and she looked up, staring intently at me. "Lucian, do you even know what a whole lifetime means?" "Of course I do." I held her gaze deeply and answered word by word. "A whole lifetime means never leaving, never giving up, staying together until we're old." Celine and I now live in the same apartment building, her unit above mine, mine below. After being disowned from the Sterling family, I had nowhere to go, so Owen had rented this place for me. Later I learned the apartment actually belonged to Celine, that she had secretly arranged for it to be rented cheaply to Owen. Celine walked me back home. "Are you really not going to let me stay at your place?" Celine simply gave me a look. "Have some self-restraint." I gave a small "oh," walking toward my own door, while glancing back every few steps. Celine stood by the elevator with obvious distaste, watching me, while I reluctantly stepped inside, and once she confirmed the door was firmly shut, the distaste on Celine's face instantly melted into excitement, her lips curving up before she forced them back down. What an eventful night this turned out to be, wave after wave of emotion crashing through her, and even now, Lucian's words from the hospital elevator still echoed in her mind. Never leaving, never giving up, staying together until we're old, but it still felt unreal somehow. Am I dreaming? I didn't realize that my actions, my words, had caused the feeling she'd suppressed for years to suddenly burst free. Heaven knows how much restraint it took me just now to hold back the urge to bring Lucian home with her. Celine glanced one last time at my closed door, then turned and headed upstairs, going into the bathroom to wash up. Suddenly, a sharp, unexplained pain shot through the back of Celine's hand. She gasped out loud, dropping the cup in her hand. She lifted her hand to look, no mark on the skin at all, yet the pain remained. Celine turned off the faucet and stepped out of the bathroom. She sat on the sofa, lifting her hand to examine the back of it, the pain gradually fading. Celine leaned back against the sofa and closed her eyes. Just then the doorbell rang, and she opened her eyes, immediately seeing that mischievous, shameless face on the video doorbell screen. Celine let out a helpless sigh. "Can't Lucian just let me have a moment of peace?" Then she laughed at herself self-mockingly. "Forget it. Wasn't I secretly hoping he'd come anyway?" Celine walked over and opened the door, her tone weary. Lucian, do you have any idea what time it is? She noticed I was still wearing the same outfit from earlier, wondering what on earth I'd been doing all this time since I went back. I stood in the doorway, reaching out toward her pitifully. Celine, Fluffy scratched my hand. The scratch on my hand was unmistakably visible. Celine's gaze locked onto my wound, her heart skipping for a brief moment. Isn't this exactly where I felt that pain just now? What kind of coincidence is this? She snapped back to herself and asked, have you treated it? I shook my head. I don't know how. Celine frowned. You own the cat and you don't know how to treat a scratch? That's right, Fluffy is my own cat. I've had her for 4 years. When I left the Sterling family, she was the only thing I brought with me. I replied, sounding perfectly reasonable. But I've never been scratched by a cat before, so wouldn't it be totally normal that I don't know what to do? Celine couldn't be bothered to argue with me further, grabbing my wrist and pulling me inside the room. A flicker of amusement crossed my eyes. Celine suddenly turned around, and I blinked, instantly switching back to my pitiful expression. What's wrong? His acting really is impressive. Celine scoffed internally, pulling me into the kitchen, turning on the faucet and holding my hand under the running water, letting the clean water rinse over my wound. I flinched slightly, the sting from the wound stirring up. Celine held my hand and felt a sudden tremor, a strange sense of unease creeping over her because in that exact moment, she'd felt a faint twinge of pain on the back of her own hand too. She stared intently at my wound, noting that the scratch wasn't deep, just a slight scrape on the skin, with a tiny trace of blood. She took a slow breath, pushing aside the strange thought. Celine spoke up. I'll have someone come give you a rabies shot later. I nodded, the two of us standing very close at that moment. I lowered my head slightly, catching sight of her face, brows knitted tight. I gazed down at her furrowed expression, something stirring faintly inside me. Celine, feeling self-conscious under my gaze, instinctively pulled her clothes a little tighter. I glanced at her. Stingy. Celine fell quiet for a moment, then asked curiously, why would your cat scratch you? You've had her for years now. Why would she suddenly scratch you out of nowhere? And she's a neutered male tomcat that I personally took to get fixed. I mumbled vaguely, I don't know. I think there might be something weird in my apartment. Celine looked at me, somewhat speechless. Lucian's stories are getting more and more absurd. He can apparently make up any excuse now. I continued anyway, looking at her with earnest eyes. She probably saw something, that's why she went crazy. Celine, I don't even dare go back right now, I'm serious. She's been really vicious lately, she goes wild the moment she sees me. I genuinely felt a little guilty, sensing that Fluffy might have somehow noticed something off about me. Celine quietly listened to my made-up story. So? I looked at her, my eyes full of hope. So, can I stay here for the night? Celine leaned in, studying me closely. Lucian, how have I never noticed before just how shameless you are? I swore solemnly. Everything I'm saying is true. If you don't believe me, you can come down and see for yourself. Celine looked at me for a few seconds, suddenly thinking of that strange pain again, and nodded. Fine. With that, she headed toward the living room. That's been rinsed enough. Dry off your hand first. I'll disinfect it for you. She pulled out the first aid kit, holding my hand steady, dabbing iodine onto a cotton swab and applying it to the wound. The moment it touched, a sharp sting bit at my hand. Celine's grip on the cotton swab tightened, the sensation of my pain growing clearer and clearer for her. She looked up at me. Does it hurt? I nodded and said, just a little. Celine, of course, knew it was just a little. She took a deep breath, tossing the cotton swab aside. Let's go. Let's check out your place. When we got downstairs and the door swung open, I immediately ducked behind Celine. She turned back to look at me, exasperated. This is your apartment. What are you hiding from? My expression turned complicated. She's really vicious. Earlier, when I'd gotten home, Fluffy had been curled up asleep on the sofa, her whole body one fluffy ball, and I'd sat down beside her, watching her quietly, lost in thought for a while, my fingers gently scratching the top of her fluffy little head. I haven't seen it in so long. That fire in my past life, Fluffy never made it out. Suddenly it wakes up. It nuzzles its head against my palm first. Just as it's about to leap onto me, its round eyes snap wide open. In an instant, its fur bristles, and it goes wild. I don't pull my hand back in time and it claws a scratch into me. I scramble up and back away. Fluffy arches its back, glaring at me viciously, about to lunge. Without thinking, I run upstairs. I head straight to Celine's place. The door opens, and inside the lights are still on. Celine can tell I'm not lying. She moves toward the living room first. As soon as I step through the entryway, I see a long-haired cat in the living room, spinning around on the floor. Celine turns and stares at me in disbelief. This is the vicious one you meant? Before I can answer, Fluffy hears the noise and looks over. The cat that was just playing happily bristles again instantly, arching its back and baring its teeth ready to lunge at me. I instinctively grab Celine's hand. I step in front of her on reflex. See? I say helplessly. That's exactly how it is. Fluffy braces to charge. Celine pulls me out of the way and snaps in a cool voice. Fluffy! Stop! I grip Celine's hand tightly. It's a cat. Can it even understand you? Let's just go. Tomorrow I'll have someone take it to the vet. Just then Fluffy looks at Celine and visibly freezes for a moment. The ferocity in its eyes vanishes, and its bristled fur smooths out instantly. It looks as if it's seeing a long-lost family member. It rubs against Celine's leg, meowing, all sweet and clingy. Celine thinks it looks a bit like me and lets out a soft laugh. Her voice turns gentler. It's more obedient than you. I deadpan. This little traitor. I raised it from a kitten and it does this to me? Celine smiles. All right, let go of me first. I don't let go of her hand. She turns to look at me, and I lean in close to her face. I lightly brush her cheek, then pull my hand back. A flicker of dissatisfaction crosses Celine's mind. Idiot! Lucian stole another kiss. Celine bends down and scoops up the cat rubbing against her leg. She sits on the sofa and settles the cat on her lap. Her fingers stroke over Fluffy's head. I lower my eyes, carefully checking if anything's wrong with it. In her arms it's docile, lying quietly, letting her examine it. I stand to the side, watching the now calm Fluffy. I move to walk over, but the moment I'm 3 steps away, Fluffy suddenly lifts its head and bares its teeth at me. I freeze. Celine frowns, tapping Fluffy's head lightly. Who are you growling at? Fluffy lets out another meow, then deflates and lies back down, but its eyes stay fixed on me, still not very friendly. Celine looks up at me, standing not far away, her face showing disappointment, fingers curling slightly. I checked it over. There's nothing wrong with it. I say, deflated. Then why is it so hostile toward me? It's like it doesn't even recognize me as its owner. Celine lowers her gaze. Maybe it's not the cat's problem. Celine isn't superstitious, but she's heard before that cats are extremely sensitive animals. What did Lucian do to make it this uneasy? The thought makes her heart race. Celine sets the cat down off her lap, patting it gently, telling it to go play elsewhere. Fluffy doesn't budge, hopping back onto the sofa and curling up beside her. Celine doesn't bother with it, looking up at me. Come here. I step closer, 2 paces, and sit down beside her, a little confused. Celine, this is the first time today she's reached out to me. She gestures for me to lean down. Don't move. Let me look. Puzzled, I ask, what are you looking at? Celine studies my face closely. She looks into my clear eyes, seeing her own reflection there. In this moment, she's certain the man sitting beside her really is Lucian. She looks at me, a little flushed. Lucian, it's just us now. I don't catch what she means. And? Celine slowly leans closer, her voice slightly hoarse. Do I still want to kiss? Her breath is sweet, her lips so close as she speaks they nearly brush mine. My breath catches, because I see clearly the care and seriousness in her eyes. This looky know it well. In my past life she looked at me the same way. After that day the video of us got leaked, just as everyone was speculating about my relationship with Celine. Someone leaked that Celine was about to get engaged to the Su family's second young master in the capital, with the 2 families having already arranged it before the new year. Sebastian Su even posted online with a pointed line, "Those who do evil bring it on themselves." Everyone understood he meant me, and public opinion turned venomous against me. Even after the trending topic was taken down and Sebastian deleted the post and apologized, Celine personally posted a clarification, saying she was the one pursuing me and that she had nothing to do with Sebastian. But by then, almost no one was willing to believe it anymore. I was swallowed by public opinion, the pressure crushing. Even the Sterling parents grew cold toward me, not to mention Mabel. The way she looked at me was full of distance and rejection. I was in agony during that time, with nowhere to put that pain. I could only dump it all onto Celine. Back then she looked at me just like this, and I mistook that care for malice. It was only much later that I understood the persistence and tenderness in her eyes were feelings she'd suppressed for years. She had already loved me for a long, long time. Seeing me suddenly go still, Celine presses her lips together gently and asks, "Don't you want to kiss anymore?" I snap back to the present, wrapping my arms around her instinctively. "No, that's not it." "Then kiss me." Her voice carries unconscious shyness. "I'll kiss Lucian first." Her words make my ears burn, but a moment ago, I suddenly thought of something from my past life I know I have to ask about it first. I reach out and gently push her back. As she looks at me, a little embarrassed and annoyed, I ask point blank, "Are you and Sebastian Su getting engaged?" Celine blanks. "Who's Sebastian Su?" Ahmed Alash has actually explained this to me before. She has nothing to do with Sebastian Su. Her family did arrange one meeting before, but she turned him down clearly on the spot. It's just that today Celine and I went viral together, and now everyone's guessing about our relationship. Even though I wasn't set up by anyone this time, based on how things played out in my past life, by tomorrow news of Celine and Sebastian's engagement would be trending, and Sebastian would post again. So this time I need to handle it now, not wait for the backlash to spread before trying to fix it. Most people won't believe a clarification after the fact. I shoot her a look and remind her, "The Su family's second son, Sebastian, back from abroad before the new year. Didn't you go on a blind date with him? And you're saying you don't know him?" Actually, I happened to run into Celine and Sebastian during that blind date, the 2 of them walking side by side out of a restaurant private room. I glared at Celine from a distance back then, grumbling to myself, wondering how I kept running into her everywhere, and now with a handsome guy too it irritated me. Only now do I realize, belatedly, that I was jealous. So that was a blind date, and now she's acting like she doesn't know who he is. I immediately try to pull away. Celine says gently, "Lucian, behave." Then, as if realizing, "Oh, you mean Sebi." That makes me even more sour. Sebi? That's pretty intimate. You call him Sebi, and use my full name? Celine sighs helplessly. That's just what everyone calls him. I don't even know his actual name. What else am I supposed to call him? Sebastian went abroad as a child and has only been back a few months. He's not familiar with the wealthy social circle in the capital. Celine has only met Sebastian once, and genuinely never caught his real name, just that everyone calls him Sebi. As she speaks, Celine's face nuzzles into my chest, her voice playful. Besides, even if calling him Sebi counts as intimate, do you want me to start calling you Big Sterling from now on? That shuts me right up. Big Sterling really doesn't sound good. Fine, never mind that. I ask, puzzled. Then what happened at that blind date with him? Celine pouts. Does meeting once even count as a blind date? I sigh. My grandmother really did arrange for me to meet him once, but before I got to the restaurant I had no idea it was him. I turned him down on the spot once I got there. This matches more or less what she told me in my past life. I frowned lightly. Then what about your family? Of course they respect my choice. The Qi family has never needed any marriage alliance. My parents always put my own wishes first, and that meeting was arranged by my grandmother. She and Sebastian's grandmother are old friends from their youth. They drifted apart over the years, but his grandmother brought it up herself, and mine agreed out of courtesy. So I went for one meeting. It was never meant as a deliberate match. I fall into thought. So there really is nothing between them. I let out a breath. But Sebastian posting that thing on Linnae have to prevent that. How should I handle it? Celine watches me, a little puzzled. Why does Lucian feel stranger and stranger lately? She's certain it's still Lucian, yet something feels off. She glances up at Fluffy, still curled up nearby, which keeps watching me with hostility. Celine pouts at me. That was ages ago. You even glared at me back then. Did you think I didn't notice? Why bring it up now all of a sudden? There's displeasure on her face. Is he trying to reject me, making up some flimsy excuse to brush me off? Lucian can't keep up the act anymore? I look at her, softening my voice. I'm not acting. Then prove it to me. Celine leans toward me. Lucian, come closer. If Lucian won't kiss me, then I'll just kiss him myself. I don't want to hold back anymore. He's the one who got close first. Just as I'm about to say something, Celine slowly leans in, her nose almost brushing my cheek. Something stirs in Meth's gentleness of hers now feels nothing like her forcefulness in my past life. Back then, she was never this tenderly close to me. The cat curled up beside Celine suddenly grows restless again, rubbing and pawing at her leg. Celine turns to look at the cat causing trouble, and I look too. The instant my eyes meet it turns vicious instantly. Celine, displeased, quietly scolds it. Fluffy. The cat lets out a meow, sounding pitiful. Feeling uneasy, I say to her, Celine, I don't want to stay here anymore. Sensing something's wrong, Celine takes my hand to leave. Seeing us go, the cat leaps down to follow too, but a single look from Celine stops it cold. It crouches back down with a meow, gazing at me pitiful like this really is the cat I raised. Its eyes are eerily similar to mine. Celine ignores it. As the door closes, I glance back at the cat in the living room. Why is Fluffy so hostile toward me, even getting in the way of me and Celine being close? Can it sense that I'm somehow different from before? Celine leads me back to her room, and I keep muttering in her ear, See? I told you it's vicious. Celine looks at me and says, Then what should we do? Stop keeping it? She heads toward the kitchen as she speaks. I frown. I've had Fluffy for 4 whole years. It was a birthday gift someone sent me. I never found out who sent it. The card left at my door just said, Happy birthday. I asked around, but no one knew who'd sent it. My friends even teased back then that whoever gave it picked such an ordinary-looking cat. They'd all forgotten Eve loved cats since I was little. The one I had as a kid was given away after Ethan came into the Sterling family, because he was allergic to cat fur. Now I already know that Fluffy was a gift from Celine. I can't bear to give it up, but maybe under these circumstances it really isn't suitable to keep it here. I watch Celine's back as she pours water, and an idea strikes me. How about this? You move in here with you, and Owen lives downstairs and helps take care of Fluffy. Once Fluffy stops being hostile toward me, I'll move back. Celine turns around with a glass of water, giving me a sly look. Then why not just send the cat straight to Owen's place? I lie through my teeth with a straight face. Fluffy is attached to its home. A new place would stress it out, throw off its appetite and sleep, even make it sick. Celine's lips curve up as she hands me the glass. So you mean you're not attached to a place? I take the glass and drink. I'm not attached to a place at all. I'm only attached to a person. I grin brightly. As long as you're there, I'll eat well, sleep well, be as good as can be. Celine's voice is soft and warm. Lucian, our eyes meet. You feel like a different person. It sounds like a joke, but my gaze flickers for an instant, and the hand holding the glass trembles on its own. I force myself to stay calm. What? Your imagination's running wild. A strange panic rises in me. I don't care, I'm staying right here. You're not allowed to kick me out. Afraid she'll catch on, I turn to head back to the living room, but the moment I turn, she catches my arm. Lucian used to always keep his distance from me, his eyes only ever for Mabel. Every time I saw Lucian looking happy next to her, I wanted to ask what exactly he liked about Mabel. I'm not worse than her in any way. No, actually, I did ask once when Mabel had just pushed him away again. I asked him half-jokingly what he saw in Mabel, said he might as well like me, instead I'm clearly no worse than her. But he said, I don't think of you that way. All these years, Celine has often thought, If Lucian would spare even a fraction of the tenderness he gives Mabel, I'd already be happy. Now it's like a dream suddenly come true. Lucian is standing right here saying he loves me, that he wants forever with me, that he wants to be close to me. But only seconds later, a sound comes from the door. Someone opens it and walks in voice before face. Celine, what's going on this late at night? What is it? Let me give you the rabies. The voice cuts off abruptly, followed by an, oh. The instant I hear the voice, I scoop Celine into my arms and duck into the kitchen. Wendy stands in the entryway, watching two living people vanish before her eyes, but she'd seen it clearly enough what Celine was just doing. Ooh, all cuddled up like that with Lucian. Who would have thought, I'd get a live show of Celine's love life. Right then, Celine walks out, shooting Wendy a glare. Wendy smirks suggestively. I didn't see a thing. Carry on, pretend I was never here. She turns and leaves cheerfully, even thoughtfully shutting the door behind her. Wendy leans against the door and exhales. That was wild. The elevator dings and Dr. Felix Liang steps out with his medical bag. He spots Wendy right away and asks, puzzled, what are you doing standing out here? He glances at the door behind her. Does Celine actually have a dog? Wendy thinks for a moment, then nods, saying meaningfully, not just a dog, a cat too, and right now they're fighting. No rush, let's go in once they're done. Felix's eyes go wide. Inside, I walk out of the kitchen. Still want to keep going? I mutter, exasperated. Can you even keep going after that? Celine's eyes curve with amusement. Embarrassed already? You weren't this shy in front of all those people before. How is that the same? That was out in the open. But this time we're caught at home in private. Doesn't that embarrass you? Celine really doesn't get my logic here. She just finds it funny and takes my hand to give it a little bite. If we're not being open about this, are we sneaking around then? I declare solemnly in a low voice. I think we genuinely are sneaking around. My logic leaves Celine torn between laughing and being annoyed. So Lucian, you don't want this public? The light in her eyes dims as she speaks. Lucian really still hasn't planned to make us publish. He's still playing me. I shake my head. It's not me, it's you. After all, when I want it to be open and affectionate, you always put on this reserved act and push me away, yet you're plenty bold in private. Isn't that you not wanting it public? I turn to look at her. See, out in public, you won't let me get close at all. Count for yourself how many times you turned me down out there today. Celine never expected me to flip this on her. This morning she looked annoyed the moment she saw me, and now tonight she's suddenly come close on her own. Did she dare make the first move? Celine laughs in genuine exasperation. She loops her arm through mine directly, tilting her face up to stare straight at me. So you mean I should call them back in right now and keep going right in front of them, picking up where we left off? Fine. Before I can say anything, Celine nods, releases me, and walks off. I freeze, then turn to find she's already heading to the living room. She doesn't actually believe I'd keep going in front of Wendy, but I don't stop her from opening the door either. It would be rude to leave them locked outside. I pick up my glass and finish the water, as Celine has already opened the door. Come on in! Felix is clearly still confused about Wendy's mysterious cat and dog comment. He glances at Wendy, whose expression is odd, and pokes his head in curiously, bag in hand, then looks at Celine. Wendy said your cat and dog were fighting. Since when did you get a dog? Then he spots me in the living room and belatedly catches on to what Wendy meant. Still outside the door, Wendy finally laughs out loud and steps inside. This time, when she sees me, her smile is especially bright. Hi, brother-in-law! All three of us turn to look at her. Felix stares at her in disbelief, his eyes asking, already calling him brother-in-law? Wendy meets his gaze head-on. What do you know? Anyone can see Celine is serious about this. Wendy wins the exchange decisively, and Felix, falling in line obediently, also says, Hi, brother-in-law. Honestly, being addressed like that so suddenly leaves me a bit embarrassed, but I respond politely anyway. Hi, both of you. Celine looks at me with a tender expression, clearly pleased with how they're addressing me now. Sit down for a moment, she says, walking over to me. Wendy, without overthinking it, pulls Felix to sit down on the sofa. Felix asks curiously, Celine, do you need the rabies vaccine? She suddenly tugs at Wendy's hand, clearing her throat oddly. What is it? Wendy turns and sees the two of us pressed close together and instantly claps a hand over her mouth. You let us in just to watch you two flirt? We're some seriously bright third wheels here. The two of them stiffly turn to look at each other, both clearly stunned by what Celine just pulled. Still think I'm just unwilling to go public? I shake my head firmly. No, you're really impressively bold and open about it. A flash of shyness crosses Celine's face. If that's still not enough, we could go to the living room too, right in front of those two. I clamp a hand over her mouth at once, terrifying. This woman really is just as wild as she was in my past life. Enough, seriously enough. Celine and I lock eyes for 2 seconds, and I feel something brush my palm. I instinctively step back, fully surrendering. I think I should get the vaccine first. Celine pulls me toward the bathroom. Shower first, once you get the shot, you can't bathe for a while. I freeze. But I don't have. Celine, seeming to know what I'm about to say, cuts in. Toiletries are already new in the bathroom. As for a change of clothes, I'll go grab some for you. She steps into the bathroom to set everything up for me. Wash up first, I'll bring it up and hang it on the door for you. I nod, then add, bring up a few extra outfits while you're at it. Celine smiles gently. Sure. She turns and steps out, giving me space. By the time she's back in the living room, the two sitting close together on the sofa give her odd looks. Celine pauses, then looks back at them as if nothing's wrong. What? Felix shakes his head with a laugh. Wendy raises an eyebrow. Tisk tisk, Celine, who knew you had this side to you? Celine, in a rare moment, is shy in front of her friend. It's fine, once you find a boyfriend, you'll be the same. Wendy purses her lips. I'm not the same as you, okay? Celine walks toward the door, teasing. So you're not the same as that Jiang guy either? Good, then I won't bother telling you about his news. Wendy springs up off the sofa instantly, trotting over to Celine and pleading, Celine, you have news about Jonas? Celine smiles. Wendy, weren't you not the same? Why do you want his news? I am the same, I'm just like you, Celine. My dear Celine, please just tell me. Celine has already reached the door and she pauses, giving her a meaningful look. Port City, go find him. Wendy's expression sobers and she says seriously, Thank you, Celine, then leaves without a second's delay. Felix, still on the sofa, falls silent for a moment, then asks doubtfully, Is that John guy really in Port City? Yes, the moment he landed in Port City this afternoon, I got word. But as she watches Wendy step into the elevator, she adds, Though I heard he went to Port City with his girlfriend. Felix frowns. Then what about Wendy? Celine's tone stays even. If he can still win her back, that's his ability. If he can't, then he has to face reality. After all, he's the one who drove her away in the first place, so he can't blame anyone else. She doesn't dwell on it further and tells Felix, Sit a bit, I'll go downstairs to grab some things for Lucian. Felix sighs softly, nods. Sure, go ahead. Celine heads downstairs, and the instant she opens the door, the cat at home rushes over, meowing eagerly, nuzzling her leg affectionately. Celine bends down to ruffle its head, asking softly, Why are you so mean to Lucian? The cat, of course, can't answer her. It just nudges its head against her palm. Celine sighs lightly, patting its head. No use being sweet with me tomorrow, I'm having someone trim your claws. With that, she heads straight to the bedroom, the cat trailing behind her. The layout downstairs mirrors the one upstairs, so she finds the master bedroom easily, pushes the door open, flips on the light, and heads straight into the closet. Celine looks at the sparse handful of clothes inside, her brows knitting slightly. I've never seen Lucian repeat an outfit before, yet these few times we've met this month, he seems to be wearing the same handful of clothes. Celine picks out a set of pajamas for me, pulls open a drawer, and blushes at the sight of the underwear inside. She grabs a few items at random, tossing them into a bag. Then, by chance, Celine spots a small black velvet box. I remember this box just a few days ago. I was with Owen at the styling studio, asking him if it looked too plain, too shabby, would she like it? Owen rolled his eyes. Even if you bought her something pricier, she might not even like it. Besides, given your situation right now, just managing to get her a gift is already something. I sighed. Fair enough. Then I spotted Celine and instantly turned away. She didn't hear what I muttered, but could guess it probably wasn't anything good. Celine knows exactly who the item inside this box was meant for. A tangle of emotions she can't quite name drives her to pick up the box, her fingers trembling slightly as she flips it open. Inside lies a delicate hairpin, with a folded note tucked beneath it. Celine presses her lips together and carefully slides the note out. Happy birthday, Mabel. Her heart sinks straight to the bottom. Of course I already knew, but it still hurts more than I expected. If she remembers correctly, Mabel's birthday was 3 days ago. Why didn't Lucian's gift ever make it to her? Celine closes her eyes. Lucian, why did you suddenly choose me of all people? Is it because you were hurt by Mabel and I'm just a stand-in? Steadying the tremor in her fingers, Celine puts the box back, finishes packing the bag, and turns to leave. By the time she's back in the bedroom, the shower is still running. Celine hangs the bag on the door and knocks. The water stops quickly, and my clear voice carries through. Celine, is that you? Celine answers, her voice carrying an unmistakable trace of dejection. I've hung your clothes on the door, grab them when you're ready. I reply, I'll be done shortly. Celine says softly, no rush. She seems to want to say something more, but in the end just lowers her eyes and turns to walk away. Not long after, I step out of the bathroom and sit down beside Celine, letting Felix give me the rabies vaccine. Celine watches with a frown beside us. As the needle goes into my arm, the faint sting makes her wince slightly, her gaze flickering. Felix has long since stopped wanting to linger single as he is. He's sharp enough to sense the mood is shifted. He quickly runs through aftercare instructions and the next appointment, then takes his leave in a hurry. I look up at Celine, our eyes meeting. Celine, what's wrong? I ask, puzzled. Celine's mood has clearly shifted. She was perfectly fine before I went to shower. Celine doesn't answer. Celine? I watch her. What is it? She reaches out and loops her arms around my neck, leaning close to my ear, asking softly, will you marry me? I'm a little stunned. Marry. She stays pressed against my ear. Let's settle the engagement right now. Settle the engagement now? What do you mean by now? I'm a bit lost. I mean settle it for life this very moment. Get the marriage license first thing tomorrow morning. Celine murmurs against my ear. Lucian, will you marry me? I suddenly feel a little dazed. Marriage. Celine brought it up many times in my past life too. At first I was cold to her, and later, after I became what I became, I wanted it even less. Eventually she stopped bringing it up at all and just stayed quietly by my side. But I once saw a custom-made pair of wedding rings in a drawer in her study, and secretly tried one on. It fit perfectly. My silence makes Celine's breath catch, the air going so quiet she can hear her own heartbeat clearly. Her voice turns small. Lucian, you don't want to? Of course not, I'd love nothing more. Celine finally dares to meet my eyes. Celine, I'm so happy. I wrap my arms around her and spin her once on the spot. Celine, I like you so much. I want to marry you, I really do. Celine's heart clenches. If I didn't know from childhood exactly how much Lucian disliked me, if I hadn't just seen that hairpin he never gave away 2 days ago, I really might believe him. Liar. Who said Lucian couldn't act? He's clearly very good at it. But even knowing it's a lie, Celine welcomes it gladly in this moment. She pouts. Lucian, remember what you just said. If I ever find out you lied to me, I can't help pressing. Then what? Then I'll cling to you, never leave your side, stick to you every single day. My heart pounds hard at that. She's getting more and more like the Celine I remember. Just as Celine expects her words to scare me off, I grin brightly. Sounds good. I follow up, curious, but if we're settling the engagement right now, it's nearly midnight already, how are we even going to plan it? As long as Lucian's willing, there's always enough time. Celine makes a few calls, and within about an hour, bags of clothes and accessories fill the living room. She pouts apologetically. Sorry it's so late, I'll have more sent over tomorrow. These were all custom made to your taste already, so try one on for tomorrow's photos. I let out a confused, okay. Celine changes into a white dress in her room, and I pick out an outfit from the same set, almost matching hers like a couple's outfit. The doorbell rings. Celine leans in and gives me a light kiss. Amused, I watch her. Go answer it, there's plenty of time once we're married. Celine nods in agreement and walks over to open the door. It's staff from a wedding planning company and a designer boutique. The moment they walk in and see the two of us, the gossip starts burning bright. On the way over, they've been grumbling about whoever was making them work this late just to plan a wedding. Now all three privately wonder, rushing into a marriage this fast. Could it be just like the online theories claimed, that Lucian has some kind of leverage over Miss Qi? The next day, while registering and taking photos at the marriage registry office, the staff clearly recognize us, their eyes brimming with curiosity. We sit side by side, and Celine glances at me, then suddenly says, wait. Confused, I look at her. What is it? The staff's hearts leap into their throats. Here it comes, here it comes. Miss Qi's having second thoughts, front row seats to the drama. But Celine gently straightens my tie. It's a little crooked, let me fix it for you. I smile softly at the gentle, lovely woman in front of me. All better now? Celine smiles and brushes a kiss on my cheek. All better. I turn and catch the staff's eyes, wide with shock and delight, and offer an awkward smile. The staff smile back. So sweet, I'm living for this couple. Online rumors really can't be trusted. Celine's cheeks flush slightly, and she sits back down, naturally looping her arm through mine, telling the photographer, all right, go ahead. The staff watch the two of us through the lens, eyes lighting up. Seeing this couple trending today, I assumed it was all filters and editing, but seeing them in person, that beauty hit straight to the heart. Me inner fangirl can't take it. Before long, 2 red booklets are handed to us. In that instant, Celine feels almost dazed. Lucian is my husband now. Her fingers tremble slightly as they trace over the booklet, and she glances over at me, finding me equally lost in staring at my own marriage certificate. Celine presses her lips together, unable to help wondering, is Lucian more happy right now, or more annoyed? As we leave the registry office, Celine hands the staff the small gift she'd prepared. You're too kind, it's the least we can do, they say. Congratulations to Ms. Qi and Mr. Sterling, wishing you a happy marriage and lasting devotion, many years of happiness together. Celine's expression softens further. Thank you. Back at home, Celine notices I'm still looking down at my marriage certificate. What is he looking at? Is Lucian unhappy about this again? But I look up at her, beaming. Celine! Celine blinks at me, caught off guard. I ask, unable to wait. Can I post this online? Celine looks puzzled. Post it? I hold the certificate up, waving it in front of her. I want to announce it publicly online, is that okay? The moment Celine mentioned marriage, this is exactly what occurred to me. Isn't this the perfect solution? If I get ahead of it and announce our marriage with the certificate right now, the whole Sebastian situation gets handled in one move. Celine truly didn't expect me to be willing to go public. Sure. She sits down beside me. I suddenly frown again. But I don't have a phone, it's with Owen, and my social media account has always been managed by her anyway. Celine's eyes curve into a smile. Then I'll post it. She snaps a few photos of the certificate, logs into a social media account she's never used before, and within minutes it's trending. No matter the time, no matter the season, we'll grow old together and never part, captioning the 2 marriage certificates side by side. As everyone buzzes excitedly online, Celine is given the most direct answer possible. I watch the post she made, my gaze flickering, and something occurs to me. By the way, your parents probably don't know we're married yet. Celine laughs softly. Husband. My face flushes instantly, heart skipping. Celine laughs again. You have time to think about that, but not something else? I ask, confused. Think about what? You should be thinking about whether tonight we curl up in the living room and talk, or go back to the bedroom and rest separately. I ask, puzzled. What's the difference between the two? Celine just blinks. You decide. I think it over, then naturally take her hand. Let's go rest in the bedroom. Celine nods. Back in the room, Celine sits on the edge of the bed, looking at me. Lucian, I think we still need time to adjust to each other. We're already married now, so I'm not in a rush. I can wait until Lucian truly falls in love with me. I have no idea what's going through her mind, so I grin mischievously. I don't need any adjusting. Well, I need time to get used to things, Lucian. Give me a little time, okay? Alright, let's sleep. The light goes off. The room falls into complete darkness, leaving only the two of us breathing softly, back and forth. I thought I'd be unable to sleep at all tonight, but with Celine's scent close by, I drift off quickly. Celine, on the other hand, listens to my breathing with no sign of sleep coming. She's terrified that when she wakes, she'll find this was only a dream. Just then, she hears me murmur in my sleep. Mabel, don't. Celine freezes instantly, the warmth in her heart turning cold in an instant. I jolt awake from the dream, drenched in cold sweat, my first instinct to touch my face with trembling fingers. No scar. No rough, uneven skin. My breathing slowly steadies, and for a moment I really almost believed this whole rebirth was just a dream. It isn't. I keep my eyes closed for a long while to steady myself, then open them and look beside me. Celine isn't there. I sit up and check the clock, only 6:30. Why is she up this early? I'm not going back to sleep either. I throw off the covers, get out of bed, and open the bedroom door. On the balcony off the living room, I see Celine standing with her back to me. I walk over and hug her from behind. Why are you up so early? She stiffens slightly in my arms, then turns around after a few seconds. Why aren't you sleeping a little longer? She wraps both arms tightly around my waist. I look at her pale expression and ask, puzzled, did you not sleep well last night? Celine doesn't answer, just lifts her head to meet my eyes. What about you, Lucian? Did you sleep well? The question makes me a little gloomy. I shake my head. Not really. Celine bites her lip lightly. Why? I rub my temple. Had a nightmare. Celine watches me, asking softly, what nightmare? I frown deeply, unsure how to explain it. I dreamed about that day in my past life when I got home, and Mabel was already there waiting for me, starting a fight with me the moment I walked in. I said that drink had come from her, but she insisted it couldn't have, then threw something at Memabel. Don't just thinking about it. My arms around Celine tighten without me even meaning to. Celine pats my back to comfort me. It's fine. It was just a nightmare. But Celine isn't so easily fooled. She can feel how tense I am, and now she's replaying what I said in my sleep, the tone of it carrying an unmistakable edge of fear, though back then, blinded by jealousy and possessiveness, I didn't think too much of it. Celine's voice trembles as she calls my name. Lucian! She asks me gingerly, did Mabel do something bad to you? I don't catch her meaning. What? Celine reaches up and gently strokes my face. Did Mabel do something to you? Her words pull my mind back to my past life again, and I suddenly can't bring myself to look at her. No, that was already a thing of my past life, and in that life she paid for it in the end anyway. As for now, Mabel doesn't have a chance anymore. Displeasure spreads across Celine's face, but afraid I'll notice, she takes a deep breath, reining her emotions in. As long as there's nothing. Celine buries her face in my chest for a moment, then suddenly asks, there's an event at the Sterling family today, does Lucian want to go? The question instantly shifts my focus. Ethan's celebration banquet? I don't really want to go, I don't want to see the Sterling family. They mean less to me than strangers. Celine looks up at me. If Lucian wants to go, I'll take you. Puzzled, I ask, what for? Celine smiles with a hint of mischief. To watch them make fools of themselves, of course. I grin broadly. Sounds good. Actually, thinking it over, the Sterling family has probably already tried to reach me, but since my phone isn't with me, they wouldn't dare make a scene at Celine's place. That's the only reason I've been left in peace so far. But the meeting was always going to happen eventually. The banquet is at noon, so there's still plenty of time. After breakfast, Celine heads to the study. With the trending topic still blowing up, her phone has been ringing off the hook. She switches it off and ignores it for a while, then turns it back on to call her parents, who are currently traveling the world, and replies to a few friends' messages. I head back to the room for a bit more sleep, then wake up and change into the outfit Celine had sent over, a custom-tailored designer suit. I let the stylist waiting nearby fix my hair. Celine sits nearby with her phone, typing away the whole time. I have no idea at what. Once I'm done, I stand up and ask, Celine, isn't your husband looking pretty good? Celine looks up at the question, puts her phone away, stands, and walks over to me, nodding with a smile. Super handsome. She then goes to change into a designer evening gown in the same color scheme. Once our looks are finished, I gaze at her with burning intensity, and find myself bending down to press a soft kiss to her cheek. My Celine is so beautiful. Standing together, Celine suddenly feels a flicker of regret. What if I don't want a Lucian this handsome being seen by Mabel? No, wait, I should parade him around instead, let everyone die of envy. Lucian is my husband. The stylist nearby let out exaggerated squeals of delight. So sweet, such a perfect match. Celine's eyes crinkle even more at the praise, and she looks up at me. Lucian, did you hear that? Everyone thinks we're the perfect couple. I lift a hand and gently ruffle the top of her hair, my tone carrying a tenderness and adoration I've never given anyone before. Only matched with you. I take her hand and hold it firmly. In this moment, I suddenly break free of every restraint I've carried before. In my past life, I endured everything in silence, moved with caution, never wanted to draw attention. I was used to keeping a low profile, avoiding the spotlight. But right now, all I want is to be loud about this, to stand by my girl and announce this love to the whole world. Celine's cheeks flush at my unguarded affection. Then let's go out right now. I want everyone to see that my husband is the best there is. I nod, letting her lead me out of the living room by the hand. The moment we step through the door, we run straight into Mabel, who's been lurking around the corner of the hallway, watching. She's dressed in an elegant gown, her makeup deliberately flawless, yet her eyes stay fixed on me, full of resentment and obsession. She schemed against us at every turn before, secretly driving a wedge between Celine and me, spreading rumors, maliciously smearing Celine's name, even secretly setting traps to drive us apart, trying to force her way into my life and seize everything that rightfully belonged to Celine. How does she still dare to show her face in front of us? Seeing me and Celine with our fingers interlocked, the tenderness playing on my face, Mabel's face turns deathly pale, every shred of her hopeful delusion shattering at once. What replaces it is thick jealousy and bitter resentment. She steps forward. Lucian, are you really going to be with her? What is it about me that's worse? I've done so much for you, why have you never once seen me? Before I can even speak, Celine cuts in. Lucian is my husband, and his heart has only ever held me. Every scheme and obsession of yours was wrong from the very start. I pull Celine back protectively into my arms, my expression instantly losing all of its warmth, replaced by bone-deep coldness. What you did was never devotion, it was malice. I stare straight at Mabel, my words deliberate and clear. Spreading rumors about Celine, secretly scheming to frame her, trying to drive a wedge in our relationship, even bribing people to slander us behind our backs. You know every single one of these clearly. I never pursued it before because I didn't want Celine touched by your filth, not because I was tolerating your malice. Mabel's face turns completely ashen, and as she tries to argue back, she's cut off by staff arriving on the scene. Everyone she'd bribed into spreading rumors for her has already come forward and confessed the truth. The evidence airtight, every one of her schemes fully exposed. The image she'd carefully built collapses entirely, her reputation destroyed, and the connections that once clung to her scatter and disappear completely. She pays a heavy price for her selfishness, obsession, and vicious scheming, ending up abandoned by everyone, with not a single person left to mourn her fall. I look down at Celine in my arms. It's over now, the trouble's handled. No one can interrupt us anymore. Celine looks up at me. Lucian, from now on there won't be any more troubles like this, right? Her eyes shine with starlight. I answer her solemnly. That's right. From now on, all that's left for us is peace and happiness. A few days later, our wedding arrives as planned. The venue is filled with blooming flowers, warm sunlight spilling across every corner, gentle yet grand. Every good person who once treated us kindly, who sincerely wished us well, has come, friends who quietly stood by us and lent a hand when we needed it. Elders who watched over our journey with warmth and kindness, and strangers we once helped, now here with grateful hearts. Every face carries a genuine smile, every gaze full of blessing. I stand in a sharply tailored suit, at the far end of the sea of flowers, my gaze burning, quietly waiting for my bride. As Celine, dressed in a pure white gown, slowly walks toward me, my entire world fills with tenderness, everything else fades into background, and she is the only light. She walks toward me, step by step, her eyes carrying starlight and a gaze full of love. I step forward and take her hand, my voice gentle but firm. I once weathered every storm alone. I've seen the world's cruelty, tasted every shade of its warmth and indifference. I thought the rest of my life would be nothing but quiet solitude, until I met you. You're the one who taught me tenderness, gave me something to hold on to, showed me what it means to truly cherish someone, what it means to be whole. Today, I take you as my wife. From this day forward, through every year and every season, I will keep you safe, give you tenderness, cherish you for a lifetime, never leaving, never letting go, never failing you. Celine's eyes well up with emotion. For the rest of our lives, hand in hand, Lucian, year after year, side by side, always. Thunderous applause rises from the crowd, blessings called out one after another, warm and joyful. I raise my hand and slide the ring onto Celine's finger, pulling my bride into a tight embrace as the warm sun brushes our faces, flowers blooming all around, the air thick with blessings, every good thing in the world seeming to converge here at last, every storm finally cleared. All things fall into place. From this day on, Celine and I stay together for life, safe and content, year after year, a life made whole.